At 78, Sally Field finally speaks the truth about Robin Williams, and in the process, she opens not only a window into her existence, but into the fabric of Hollywood history and the complex, poignant nature of human relationships. Sally Field was born Sally Margaret Field on November 6, 1946, in Pasadena, California, and right from the start her life appeared to be set to become intertwined with the world of telling stories. Her mother, Margaret Field, was an actress, and her stepfather, Jock Mahoney, was a prominent actor and stuntman, so these early experiences, mixed with the rich cultural atmosphere of Southern California, fostered her creative sensibilities and provided her with a deep knowledge of the pitfalls and benefits of a life in show business. She was forged by the dynamism of an industry that could provide both fantastic opportunity and devastating criticism, and this contradictory theme would be with her throughout her professional life. Field came into her first major success in 1960s with her lead role in the light-hearted television series Gidget between 1965 and 1966, and although the series only ran for one season, her characterization of the feisty and endearing teenager made her a household name overnight. That came after another classic television character in The Flying Nun, 1967 to 1970, as Sister Bertrill, a flighty novice nun whose habit permitted her to take flight literally. The premise was perhaps whimsical and even confining at times, but Field's effortless charm and impeccable comedic sense propelled the show, solidifying her status as one of television's best-loved stars of the time. But beneath the laughter and disguise, she increasingly longed to transcend the stereotypes that risked defining her career. She set her heart on being regarded seriously as a serious actress, and she worked intensively, including at the Actors Studio with the great Lee Strasberg, and she proved resolute. Her work in the 1976 TV movie Sybil, where she portrayed a young woman afflicted with dissociative identity disorder, was a turning point. It required unprecedented emotional intensity, and her raw, uncompromising performance won her an Emmy Award and universal critical acclaim, demonstrating that she had the depth to accommodate challenging material. This completely altered the course of her career, propelling her from flippant television to the ranks of serious dramatic actresses. The late 1970s and 1980s proved a golden age for Sally Field, who established herself as one of Hollywood's most admired leading ladies. In 1979, she received her first Academy Award for Best Actress for Norma Rae, playing a working-class Southern female who becomes a fiery labor union activist. The movie was both an exhibition of her great talent and a call to action for social justice, deeply affecting people. Only 5 years after, she received her second Academy Award for Places in the Heart in 1984, a heart-wrenching tale set in the Great Depression. Her speech at the time contained the now famous line, "You like me, right now you like me," something that has since become immortalized in the history of the Academy Awards, although she now admitted it had often been misinterpreted. Throughout the years, she persisted in juggling television, film, and theater, demonstrating herself to be one of the most versatile actresses of her era. She added warmth and humanity to performances in Smokey and the Bandit 1977, Steel Magnolias 1989, Mrs. Doubtfire 1993, and Forrest Gump 1994, each time leaving audiences with characters that seemed real, complex, and indelible. For television, her performances during the run of Brothers and Sisters between 2006 and 2011 were rewarded with yet another Emmy, and her performance on Broadway, in such productions as The Glass Menagerie, received critical acclaim for her stage presence. Even toward the later stages in her career, she continued to impress, most notably in the role of Mary Todd Lincoln in Steven Spielberg's Lincoln, 2012, which resulted in yet another Academy Award nomination. Aside from the professional accolades, Field has forever been respected for being real, honest, and tough in real life. She has never hesitated to talk about her personal issues of self-doubt, Hollywood pressures, and relationship problems. Her real life was as complicated as her professional life was successful. It was in 1968 that she wedded Stephen Craig, and though the marriage ended in divorce in 1975, it was at this time that she gave birth to her first child. Her two sons, Peter Craig and Eli Craig, both followed creative pursuits. Peter went on to become a screenwriter and novelist, working on big-budget films like The Town, 12 Strong, and Top Gun. Maverick, while Eli found success in acting and directing, being most famous for his cult classic horror comedy Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. Field worked to balance the needs of Hollywood with her commitment to raising her sons, trying to provide them with as normal a childhood as she could despite her celebrity. In 1976, Field began a highly publicized romance with Burt Reynolds, one of the most well-known romances of the late 1970s. They starred together in numerous films, including Smokey and the Bandit and its sequel, Hooper and the End, and their on-screen sparks mirrored the intensity of their actual relationship. However, beneath the glamorous facade, their romance was troubled, characterized by conflicting personalities and the strains of fame. They parted ways in 1980, although they maintained an on-off relationship until 1982. Reynolds would go on to refer to her as the one that got away, while Field recognized the significance of their relationship, but knew it was never going to last. In 1984, she wed film producer Alan Greisman, with whom she had her third son, Samuel, born in 1987. Samuel had a more low-key career path, writing and directing, and Field has ever been candid and unashamed in her support of him, particularly when he declared himself gay. She became an activist for LGBTQ+ rights, employing her platform to advocate for acceptance and love. Despite her efforts, her marriage to Greisman ended in divorce in 1994, another chapter in a life filled with both personal fulfillment and heartbreak. At 78 years old, Sally Field has become not only a veteran actress, but a woman of reflection, willing to share the truths she once kept private. Recently, she has talked increasingly openly about her hardships, about her resilience, and about the people who influence her life. One of the most poignant disclosures she has shared is about her relationship with Robin Williams, the brilliant comedian and actor whose life and death left an indelible impact on viewers everywhere. Field acknowledged that her emotions towards Williams were complicated. "I really loved him, but it wasn't like a romance. It was more complicated than that. Their lives crossed most famously on the set of Mrs. Doubtfire in 1993, where Field was Miranda Hillard, the former wife of Williams' character. For many film viewers, their chemistry was undeniable, and though they quarreled and joshed on camera, beneath the surface there was a demonstrable affection that seemed to flow beyond the script. Field admitted that this rapport was not all acting. It was based on a real rapport she shared with Williams. But with the rapport was a profound sorrow and remorse. She has acknowledged that she misses him so much and wishes all the time that she had spoken to him more when he was alive. Working alongside Williams, she remembered, was akin to entering another dimension. His brain was like a live wire, full of ideas, jokes, and spurts of energy that left everyone gasping. Robin was exhausting in the best possible way, she said. He'd make you laugh until your belly hurt, and then, just when you'd think he couldn't astonish you anymore, he'd say something so delicate, so gentle, it would shatter your heart. To Field, that was the essence of Williams, the poet and the clown, the tempest and the calm, in one mind. But under his boundless laughter, she could see the shadow of sorrow he bore. I could see the sorrow, even when he was having everyone laugh. He carried it around like a shadow, one that never quite departed him. In retrospect, she laments not contacting more, not seeking more diligently to relieve his burden, and wonders if he ever knew how much loved he was by the people who knew him best. Her musings regarding Williams are as much about gratitude as they are about sorrow. "I feel so fortunate I got to know him the way that I did," she said. "He wasn't only a genius, he was a profoundly human being." That's what people were seeing on screen. Someone who could make them laugh and cry in the same moment, because that's what he actually was. For Field, Robin Williams is an emblem of the tenuous line between light and darkness, and a reminder of the need to tell the truth before it's too late. By finally speaking out about him, She has not only honored a friend she loved, but also provided a lesson in honesty and vulnerability. These are echoes of the preoccupations in her memoir, In Pieces, 2018, in which she shared private aspects of her life, including her own teenage depression. She characterized those years as ones in which she lived with a profound sadness and state of anxiety, a restlessness she was unable to articulate, but which drove her quest for purpose and self. There was this urgency, this anxiety, this need to find something that was festering inside me, she wrote, describing the sensation of having an unnamed burden and wanting freedom and light. It was not so much sadness, but a deep sense of incompleteness, as if she was waiting for something inside her to break through. These early struggles with insecurity and depression shaped much of her later resilience, which served to infuse the characters she played with depth and ground her in authenticity. Through her years in Hollywood, through her marriages, affairs, breakups, and victories of motherhood, she has always lived with truth and courage, even when that truth was uncomfortable. Now 78, Sally Field is a survivor, an artist, and a truth-teller, refusing to speak ill of her regrets or her blessings. When discussing Robin Williams, she has taught the world to appreciate those who make our lives a little brighter and to never reserve the words that count. For her, the truth about him was not only tribute, but also healing, an act of love that lasts in memory long past the laughter.